Hi y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome to a video that came to me, that occurred in my brain as I have been doing a bit more self-analyzation. By this time, I have already put up one declutter, and if y'all are like with me on the Twitter and the Snapchat and everything like that, you will know that I have made some self-realizations, which will probably at some point incur another declutter. Because as I have been like sort of doing the makeup rotation and being just a bit more honest with myself, I'm realizing that there is a lot of makeup that I don't use and that I'm becoming okay with not keeping in my collection. Because for those of you who've been with me for an extended period of time, should be familiar with the fact that I have a hard time letting go when it comes to my makeup. There's a little bit of separation anxiety involved with decluttering things. Because somewhere deep down in my psyche, I am convinced that at some point, sometime, I will be possessed with the desire to use this particular palette that I haven't touched in 2 years. Also, if you hear Coco screaming, that is because she has separation anxiety from my husband. And so today, what I thought would be interesting to do, because as I've been going through, as I've been doing the makeup rotation and the declutter, I'm noticing there are a lot of products that I've realized that I wouldn't purchase today. Now, this isn't an indication of it being like, oh, I wouldn't purchase it because it's, it's bad quality or it's, no. The majority of the things here, good, great, top-notch quality. But the reality is that because 2019 was such a great year for me, going through so much self-realization of like me and my makeup personality, I just now know what I like, love, and use. And there are so many things in here that if I walked into Sephora, even if I had an unlimited budget, I walked into Sephora Ulta, these would not be purchased. Pretty sure I have enough that I can do this twice, honestly, probably. If I'm decluttering it, it's because I wouldn't purchase it today. But I know I can definitely do this another time, so let me know if you would like to see a part 2 of this. But for now, we're just gonna get into the awkward, embarrassing self-realization of makeup that I've purchased that just ain't my thing. Okay, we're gonna start off with something a little bit embarrassing, a little bit of something I need to admit to myself and to share with y'all, because y'all know your girl. Obviously, I've made videos about it. I have an unhealthy relationship with purchasing things, and I have an unhealthy relationship with purchasing makeup. And for the longest time, especially in my early days, and we're starting to get out of it here, but when it came to purchasing things, especially when it came to like highlighter and blush and lipstick was a bad one. For whatever reason, I would feel the need to purchase range. We're talking like from pale to deep. And so makeup that I wouldn't purchase today because of self-realization and the fact that, I need to not be stupid, I wouldn't purchase highlighters that are too dark for me. Because for whatever reason, my fractured thinking told me, yeah, you need a highlighter for someone that has the deep, dark, delicious melanin. Because your girl does not have a lot of melanin. But for whatever reason, I think I have other ones in my collection. I'm getting to the point of being able to declutter those because, like I said, there's a part of me that if you have a collection and you have a whole range, you do not break up that family. But let's just go through a couple options. Examples. These are all from Becca. Rose gold. Now, I will admit, I can get away with this one as a blush topper, and that's probably what I'm going to end up doing because I would like to get use out of this, and it is a very beautiful finish. It's not so metallic that it's gonna look like, oh, you've got a blush on and it's gonna be just a rose gold topper. But wait, there's more. How about topaz, which in Becca's original line is obviously for someone on the very opposite end of the color spectrum, because that's totally gonna work for me. We got bronzed amber, which is another one that I'm gonna keep, because like the rose gold, I do like using this over top a neutral blush, but as a highlighter, oh yeah, that would blend right in. And then one that I'm not even sure what color skin undertone this is supposed to work for, but champagne gold, which is yellow gold, just like straight up, which is also one that I'll probably keep because I can mix it with something a lot less yellow and kind of just get that nice cool effect. But y'all, your girl needs and will not be purchasing any more highlighters that are too dark for me. Okay, now let's talk about some specific products rather than a category. The Tartist palettes, because I mean, let's be real. I purchased these and my chocolate bars and my Lorac Pros and my Naked palettes at a time when I was under the impression that if it was popular or if it was something that everybody loved, then I needed it and I needed to or was going to love it, regardless of personal preference or anything like that. And we have the tartlet right here, and it's, neutral. I will admit though, I do need to pull this into a makeup rotation because these are very nice, very vampy, neutral, cool tones, which y'all know by this point is very good for getting that undead, haven't slept in 1,000 years look, which is occasionally something that I vibe with. And so while I am going to try to get some use out of this, I mean, it does have 3 basically useless white taupe ecru setting shades. But like I said, if I were gonna go into Sephora or Ulta and look at all the palettes that they have, this is not one of the ones that would come home with me. And even more so for the Tartlet in Bloom, because it is significantly less cool toned. It isn't very purpley. It's kind of like, it's got the shades there, and then you got the 2.5 shimmers, or like 2 shimmers and a satin. And so, adding shimmers into the matte mix, and just the fact that it's just so neutral. I understand that at a time, these, a lot of the old whatever OGs was some people hardcore love and favorites. And I have probably touched these handful of times since getting them. And so my realization in what I look for in neutrals and what I like in eyeshadow, I realize I am just not the majority of the typical beauty consumer we see on YouTube. I like something a little bit more cray-cray. And so while these are beautiful palettes, and I'm sure a lot of people absolutely love them, for what I've learned about myself today, it's not something I would buy. Like if this were to break, I would drop it here right now and it would shatter into a million pieces. I'd be like, well, that kind of sucks because it broke and I wanted to get some use out of it, but that would be the extent of my emotional reaction. Then something a wee bit more recent, I think it was Jeffree Star. Surprise, surprise, Jeffree Star product I wouldn't buy today. Today I wouldn't buy his regular Skin Frost either because they're big, they're bulky, they're clunky, they're thick, and they're chunky. But very specifically, when he released his Blue Blood collection, he came out with 3 actually. One of them's more viable, whatever. Basically what I'm coming down to is I wouldn't buy these 2 because they are basically unwearable shades on the face. Because let's be real, your girl is not going out all kinds of bronze, beautiful, highlighty goddess on the body. Y'all know I love me some shimmer, I love me some glitter, but I like it in a very controlled environment. I don't like it getting all over my clothes. I don't like it getting all over my cats, my husband, and everything that I own. I love how I just implied that I own my husband. But these 2 shades here, we have got Prostitute, which is, blue. And then we've got Expensive, which I shouldn't have bought anyway because I feel like it's for the people of the deeper melanin. They're pretty. They're pretty. I just put way too much on there, It's like this bronzy whateverness with this beautiful greeny gold reflect. On someone who's got a skin tone that's like this delicious dark caramel color, and then they have that greeny gold reflex sparkling off their decadent skin tone, that would be absolutely stunning. And for me, it would just look like I have some shiny, shimmery dirt on my face or on my body. That's just not a color that my skin gets, you know? And then you're all like, ooh, blue. I'm gonna be all kinds of alternative and snazzy when in reality, I have, that's way too much. I also absolutely despise the applicators on these. But you know, for all my alternative, extensive purposes, I have learned that I am not someone who is gonna go rolling up to the club. I mean, I'm not going up to the club anyway because I'm old and tired. But I'm just not gonna be doing that because I have learned with myself and what I like. And a highlighter, yes, I like something cha-cha-cha-cha, but I like something that blends nicely into my skin tone. I don't like something that alters the shape of my face in the sense of, you know, blue. And if I want something that's blue or whatever, I got Anastasia Moonchild, I got Anastasia Aurora. Now I would just realize, one, you don't use a lot of liquid highlighter. Two, you don't need, even for the sake of review, although I do like to review things that are out of my color theory because I do have subscribers of the Deep Dark Decadent Melanin. I like to include y'all, but for my own whatever, I need to be like, girl, that highlighter too dark, girl, that highlighter too blue. And if he were to release whatever and he'd come out with those, I'd been like, no, we're gonna get the palette and be done. Then speaking of a palette, we might as well get Mr. Star out of the way. His first, the original, his OG beauty killer. Which for anyone who's familiar with Jeffree Star before the makeup thing, I just about lost my mind because that was the name of his, not his first album, but the one that really put him out there in the music. And so him naming the palette, I was like, this is the beautiful, most perfect ascension from music person to makeup. And y'all, I understand that this is his first palette. He had not yet perfected his formula or his level of curation that he's come to with Blood Sugar and all the other palettes released since. Even the second one, Androgyny, was a lot more concise than this one. I feel like this one was just kind of like, oh, I'm Jeffree Star, so we need to have a hot pink and a purple and whatever this color is. And we need a black with glitter in it. And I need a sad, pathetic white setting ecru shade and a crease shade. And I mean, the quality's okay. It ain't his Blood Sugar. It ain't Blue Blood. It ain't Bloodlust. It ain't any of that. And just from the fact that it is so just disjointed, I mean, this just looks like someone went and bought a bunch of single shadows and put them in a palette. You can't really do a lot of like cohesive looks. Like I always say, maybe I suck at makeup, maybe my brain is not creative enough to comprehend the wearability of this palette. But in all honesty, I just think it's a gnarly disjointed mess. You only get 4 mattes. I need to pull this in a makeup rotation and decide if I want to keep it in my collection. But like the Tarte palettes, this isn't something that if it dropped and fell and broke, that I'd be like, well, time to go to Beautylish and buy another one. The only reason I still have it is because I paid for it and it's one of Jeffree Star's palettes and the aesthetic is very pleasing. Next up is a Kat Von D product, which that just made me think about something else that I wouldn't buy today. So definitely stay around for round 2. But like I said, as I've been going through and kind of deciding what I use, what I don't use, what my preferences are, what I'm decluttering, I was reminded of the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye Glimmer palette. Now, so many people were like, why did she release this? Because what it is a all shimmer palette, although I believe it claims to have like, I don't know, 12 different finishes. And basically what that means is you have a illuminating shade, think hourglass ambient lighting type thing, a true shimmer, a more metallic, and then a chunky glitter-filled mess. Those are the extent of the finishes that you receive in this palette. It's the exact same whatever as her Shade and Light palette, which at the time I was like, it's so revolutionary. It's perfect. She's a genius. Because I'm thinking to myself, you know, what does the Shade and Light have? All mattes, you know. What is the perfect companion to an all matte palette? An all shimmer palette, which at one time your girl was all about the shimmers. You know, we were throwing everything in the crease, all up in the face. Whereas now I am much more a matte loving girl. And I mean, I wouldn't buy this today just because the quality is I mean, it's okay. Some of the shades are nice, but the majority of it, you know, you're thinking, when you're getting a shimmer version, a glimmer, or whatever, you know, you're thinking cha 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 cha. And for the most part, like I said, you're getting kind of a faint hourglass effect, which I know for some people is fantastic. I know people who like to have a less drag inspired makeup look, but for me and my RuPaul loving butt, this is definitely not vibing. This is again something I need to pull into a rotation and be like, do I really want to still have this in my collection? Do I really want to deal with that shimmer black with glitter in it? Because I have that in the Jeffree Star palette. You know, this just isn't something either color-wise or theory-wise that I would be like, yeah, I need an all shimmer palette version of a all matte neutral palette. Because in reality, I don't. In reality, we all didn't. This was just kind of like a release that at the time I was like, yes, I love her. Everything she touches turns to gold. When in reality, this was probably kind of a release. If I can remember to find reviews on any of these things, I will leave them down below so y'all can have like a horrible, frightening throwback review moment. This next product required like Inception levels of self-realization. And I do find comfort in the knowledge that realizing that this product isn't something that I would repurchase today is, you know, it is a testament to the fact that our makeup, whatever, our opinions, our desires, our wants, our needs, they change for a myriad of different reasons. I know a lot of y'all have talked about when it comes to like skincare and face makeup, you know, one thing changes about your face and you got to change everything. And so when it comes to something, you know, like the eyeshadow, where at one point, this thing was your absolute perfect, amazing, end-all be-all palette, to where it's now to the point of, I look at you and once again, although I will say, out of all the palettes that I've included in this and that I'm gonna continue on in the next one, this is the one that I would be the most tempted to purchase again. Not because of sentimentality, but because there still are a lot of beautiful shades in this. Now, if the formula has changed, then no. Because part of why I loved this palette, I purchased this at a time, like I said, where I was throwing shimmer all up in the whatever. I was like, Matt, what? And these shimmers layered so beautifully over each other. I'd start with that one all up in the what, we deepen with that, put a little bit of that, whatever, go into one of these, and they just worked absolutely perfectly together. So if the formula has changed and the shimmers don't act all nice together, then absolutely not. But if it's the same formula, yeah, I would be a little bit tempted. But because now that I am a matte lover, because now that I have found other peachy, orangey, other green, other, you know, other neutral whatever palettes that far surpass this one in color theory, in blendability, in quality, in formula. You know, this one is just one of those things that I've most definitely outgrown. It still smells beyond amazing, which that scent is probably secreting a toxin that is the only thing that has kept me from decluttering this because I don't use it anymore. But yeah, like I said, this one was kind of like a wow. We've reached that point because y'all know, for those of you who've been with me for a long time, you know this was my absolute shiz. I was like, if you buy any palette that ever existed, buy this one. Another Tarte product, because I feel like Tarte is a brand that I could probably honestly say from here on forth, I will buy nothing else from this brand and I would probably be okay. I don't think my makeup experience or my collection would suffer that much from having Tarte removed out of it. Not because it's a bad brand, not because the products suck, but because for my aesthetics and what I like in makeup, don't take it personally, but the Tarte Clay Play Face Shaping Palette, Volume 2. I like the first one. I don't think I would repurchase that one today either, but it would be more of a likelihood than this one because they came out with the first one and it was really good. It's one of my favorite contour products of all time, and your girl don't contour. But then they released this one. I was very upset that they didn't spring for new packaging. I mentioned that in my review of this. I was like, really? Like the outer packaging was like purpley and green and palm trees and shit. I was like, oh, what's up? They're giving us fresh packaging. But it was only the outer box that was that fancy. And then the inside looks exactly like the first one. But you open it up and you're like, okay, all right, this is a palette clearly for someone named Snow White, because this palette is the epitome of pasty. So you have that going on for it. I mean, it has, basically this whole palette encompasses my hatred for the pasty setting shade. I mean, this palette on a whole is basically a setting shade. You know, the blush is kind of pretty. This highlighter is like, it is thick, it is chunky, and it does not give me enough whatever for the struggle I have to work with to put this on my face. And then the eye shimmers, they're chunky and it's powdery, and you can basically get one look out of this. And they're all like, well, you can see part of what I loved about the first one. Just a moment. Part of my love for this one, exactly the same, is because it had, yes, this still pale as F, but at least with this one, you had the added gradation of these that you could use on your eyes. I mean, with my cosplaying and my like whateverism, this was my go-to palette because you could really get and build that level of depth in your eye sockets. And the shades were absolutely beautiful. My mind was blown because even then I wasn't a neutral person. I think I was trying to pretend I was, which is probably just an excuse for me to be able to buy more stuff. But you know, the quality was absolutely beautiful. And then you had this one, this sad, pitiful, pathetic of an excuse of a just no. So for a myriad of reasons, this would not be going in my shopping cart again. Then something that's sort of painful to admit for a different reason than the Too Faced one. This one's painful because I anti-hauled it and then I bought it anywhere because I have issues. But the Becca and Chrissy Teigen face palette, which is basically Becca and Jaclyn Hill palette 2.0. Because Becca knows how to make one type of face palette, which is highlighters that already exist, some kind of bronzing something, and then a limited edition bright corally peachy pinky blush, which is basically the same blush they include in every single one of their palettes. So if you miss out on one, that's okay. Wait for a little bit, they will release another one that will essentially give you the same effect. And I mean, this is nice, but you know, at the time, I had the Jaclyn one. I'm pretty sure that like frosty, icy holiday one that they did had released before this, so I had that one. I don't bronze, you know. Honestly, what got me to really want it probably was the whole like beach nectar, which is like a highlighter shade they don't have, and so I was like, well, the highlight, it's got a new, unique, limited edition highlighter in it. I need that. But I literally don't, because I am sure I have this palette in a myriad of whatever. And with Soraya's enlightened whatever of today, I mean, especially with that whole, you know, kind of trying to boycott or at least be a little bit more discerning when it comes to limited edition, I mean, I'd be like, okay, it's a limited edition face palette from Becca, something they're known for doing. I have other incarnations of this, and not only that, this isn't even really that amazing. I mean, color theory and whatever wise. Quality is really nice on this. Becca does tend to at least have a consistent level of quality when it comes to their face palettes. Probably because they're just reusing the same products over and over again for them. It ain't that difficult when you're just reusing the same shit and you don't gotta reformulate nothing. But yeah, this is just something that more enlightened me would not have gotten all caught up in the craze and the whatever and anything like that. I think I did a comparison video to this and the Jaclyn Becca palette. Once again, if I can remember to put reviews in, I will leave them for you. But yeah, this is just something where I'm like, I have you. I need to use you. The majority of the makeup that I don't use needs to be pulled into a rotation and then decided if I really want to keep it. Because for a long time there, I was just buying stuff to buy stuff. And this is something that I would realize now that I just have absolutely no need for. Okay, that is all the time that I have for today. Definitely going to be doing a part 2 of this. While filming this, I've already thought of other things that I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't repurchase that or buy that today either. It's good. It's a growing experience, a little painful at times because you realize how much of a stupid, blinded consumer you were, but it's good. In the long run, this will benefit me. But I would love to hear what y'all have to say about these products. I understand makeup experience is all very relative. Y'all love what you love. I love what I love. Sometimes that coincides and sometimes it doesn't, because I know with the Tarte palettes, I know some people love those. And I used to love the Sweet Peach palette. You know, things happen. But obviously, let me know what you feel about the whatever's down below. And let me know something that you used to love, or maybe not even love, but something that you wouldn't purchase in your makeup situation now. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. And as always, keep it real. Mwah!